climate change. What is the image that pops into your brain? Generally, it's this. You think melting polar caps, you think skinny polar bears. And you feel detached. You think, well, this is happening up there. It's not happening to us. But basically, a big reality check is coming. This is Miami. This is not rainwater. This is actually ocean water, and this is now a common occurrence. They actually have fish in the streets. So they're starting to take, obviously, climate change a lot more serious. Now, this is an animation. If you can see right here, it's 2 degrees, getting down towards the 4 degrees, and basically, Florida's going to go bye-bye. Let's start that. So, by the way, my parents retired. They're right around Miami, and 2 degrees, no more home. So I guess the one advantage, I don't have to do Christmas in Florida anymore. So, now, 2 degrees is a tipping point. Basically, you go over 2 degrees, the scientists say we can have a runaway machine. So we're trying to stay at 2 degrees. So how do we fix this? 25% of all the CO2 comes from power plants. And there's going to be $40 trillion that needs to be spent over the next 15 years just to adhere to the Paris Agreement. And that's to keep below 2 degrees. Now you think, oh, well, renewables. Renewables are going to save the day. The problem is they're intermittent. Wind's not blowing, sun's not shining, then we don't have power. So you might say, well, lithium ion, we're going to do storage. That's an exponential technology. But there's a little bit of a dirty secret. 1 Tesla battery pack, just to get the raw materials and produce a battery pack, it actually is as if you drove a fossil fuel car for 3 to 8 miles, depending on the battery pack. So, and this is because you got to go get those minerals. You got to dig them up. You got to process them. You have to ship them off, and then you hopefully at the end you have to recycle the life cycle of that battery. Otherwise, it's very toxic. Now, think if we made big storage facilities like this so that we could actually have 24-hour generation. That's actually a lot of CO2. Plus, right now, it's still very costly. So, to this day, you still have fossil fuel power plants coming on board, and it's kind of depressing. Next year alone, there's going to be 570 coal power plants that are going to come on board, and they usually have a lifespan of about 40 years. So we're here, we're going to try to solve that. I'm an innovator, patent holder, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been through now 5 accelerators, and I was also the director of Launch Incubator under Jason Calacanis. He's a super angel who's one of the first investors in Uber. I have a rock star team. Katie is an attorney, basically working on financing and getting government regulations for big power plants. And Andrew actually does commercial, he owns a company that does commercial solar installation, so this is a team that can go to market. So where do we get our innovation? Well, we look to Mother Nature. You have something called the rain cycle. It does something pretty unique. You have a phase change when you have liquid turned to a gas, becomes lighter than air, travels up, cools down, turns back to a liquid, and falls back down. And you can harness that kinetic energy. So we're going to do something called phase change gravity generation. We build a big shaft. It's 12 meters by 2,000 meters, and there's a delta change. And we're using a new nano fluid that can basically go up, turn a turbine, turn into a liquid, come back, and spin a hydroelectric turbine. And the great thing about nanotechnology is right now you can actually change the properties of elements. So for example, they've actually made metal that has a very high melting point now actually melt at room temperature, or take a metal that is not magnetic and then make it magnetic. And this is kind of the proprietary stuff that we're working on. I can't really tell you about. So what's the bar? Solar, it's about a $1 million per megawatt capex. If you can get below that, you're going to win the game. We can do about half that, at least from all the preliminary financing and all the people we've talked to. But keep in mind, we actually generate 6 times more power because it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. So that's going to be more like a 12x savings. And that is a game changer. That's a paradigm shift. This is how we're going to get off of fossil fuels. So hopefully we can make Florida not look like this, go back to this, and I guess I will be spending Christmas in Florida. We're Newton9, and we're powered by gravity. Thank you.